Welcome. We are Mike and Kelly Platt, principals of Inside Public Accounting. Together with our staff, we want to welcome you to our discussion on best practices to complete the IPA survey. Our intention is that your investment of time over the next 90 minutes or so will save you a significant amount of time when completing the survey, and hopefully will connect some of the dots, highlighting the connection between you completing the IPA survey and your firm improving its understanding of its strengths and weaknesses, understanding the competitive landscape, and providing insights into key industry analytics and metrics. Before we begin, let me go over some quick housekeeping items with regard to today's discussion. Number one, the session is being recorded, so you will be able to access it on demand as you begin completing the survey. We will send a link to the recording to everyone who participates in this session. There are participants from CPA firms all across North America in the session today. To help everyone hear well, we have initially muted all lines. If you have a question as we proceed, you have several ways of asking it. Either send a chat message through your webinar window at the lower right-hand corner to the organizers, or look for the icon to raise your hand, and we'll unmute your line so you can ask your question. We will be taking questions throughout, and we will be pausing for questions throughout as well. This session is not available for CPE, but as I mentioned earlier, our intent is for your investment of time today to save you a lot of time later and help you improve your firm's operations to impact the bottom line. Let's take a look at a few best practices to address from the start. You've received the IPA survey by email. Your firm has determined that you will be the point person in getting it done. You've added it to your to-do list and have put the deadline on your calendar. What can you do to make the process as efficient, as accurate, and as valuable to your firm as possible? Number one, confirm your firm's participation. To ensure that you're on IPA's radar screen and to avoid any unnecessary reminders, please send an email to survey@plattgroupllc.com to confirm that your firm will participate in the survey this year. Number two, start now. Regardless of whether your year end is December or June, there's a large portion of the IPA survey that you can complete today. Get a head start on the deadline by starting now. Complete the questions that are not dependent on your year end numbers. Number three, consult the definitions. They're there not only to help you understand what the survey is asking for, but to also normalize the responses so they're more comparable with other firms. Be sure to check the survey definitions tab for explanations of what the survey is asking for. Number four, identify the resources in your firm that can help. Review the questions, make a list of the various management reports that you'll need to consult to complete the various sections. Also determine if there's someone else or multiple people in your firm that may have quicker access to accurate information, and consider parsing out that section of the survey to them to complete and send back to you. And finally, consider tracking the information that you are not currently tracking. The IPA survey has been developed over decades of consultation with practitioners and leading consultants on the kind of information that is most helpful for leaders of CPA firms to know. If your firm is not measuring or tracking some of this data, consider how it could help you if you did. So let's start with a quick frame of reference regarding the IPA survey and analysis of firms. It's a comprehensive benchmarking survey that covers key financial and operational performance measures. We're anticipating about 500 to 600 firms participating this year, making the populations you can compare yourself to both robust and more meaningful. We're working with many different accounting associations to help streamline the survey process and reduce survey fatigue on your end. We're using the same survey for the larger IPA benchmarking report, so the good news is for those of you with an accounting association that we're working with, you'll only have to fill out one survey form. For some associations, participation in this survey is a condition of membership. Our audience of participating firms is primarily the top 1,000 accounting firms in the country, so your numbers will be aggregated with other firms of your size for relevant analysis and benchmarking. Let's take a look at how the IPA survey form is laid out. I've switched over to the Excel document itself that each of you have received. When you open the email from us and you click on the Excel spreadsheet, you'll be taken to this welcome page with instructions on how to fill out the form, deadlines, and how to submit the form. Your deadlines will be clearly stated here on the welcome page. Some associations have early deadlines to ensure that their data is ready for the spring meetings, and your assistance in meeting those deadlines on your document will be crucial. Here we see the general deadlines for submissions. May 2nd for firms with a fiscal year end of July through December, May 16th for those firms with a fiscal year end of January or February, and June 3rd for those with a March or April year end. If your year end is May or June, please contact us. And if you are with an association with an earlier deadline and you have an April, May, or June year end, please also contact us to discuss your situation. As you look through the welcome page, you will see various instructions, guidelines on what to do, how to fill out the form, and best practices to follow. To get to the actual survey form itself, click in this area in blue or on the actual IPA survey form tab in the same color, and that will take you right to the data entry area. A couple of quick comments on the tabs before we get into the survey form itself. This second tab is the actual IPA data entry survey form, which we'll come back to in a second. The third tab is a helpful guide to definitions, so we're all providing comparable information. We encourage you to refer to this tab when completing the form. And finally, the last tab, Firm Clarifications and Notes, is a place for you to provide additional clarifications or further explanation of an answer if needed. Over the last few months, we've worked with focus groups, reaching out to various managing partners, CFOs, and firm administrators who are just like you to get input and feedback on ways to enhance the IPA survey, ways to define questions better, and ways to make responding much easier. For the remainder of our time today, we'll go through each section, highlight the changes that were made from last year, which are not very many, focus on the areas that have given firms the most challenges or areas where the most common mistakes occur. Again, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to chat with us in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, raise your hand, or send us an email. Okay, here we go. Throughout the IPA survey form, everything in white is an input field where you'll be able to enter your data. Starting up at the very top in the firm information, this first section, let me call your attention to rows 8 and 9. You are the expert in your firms, not us, so please help us by putting your firm name and the managing partner's name exactly as you wish it to appear. Anything you put in this field will be considered your approval for how it should appear in print. Rows 15 to 16, tell us how many offices you have here in this section and what the change was from last year. If you don't have any changes, be sure to enter 0 in row 16. On row 17, be sure to tell us not only the month and day of your fiscal year end, but also the year that you are reporting. Our contact information is here also in case you have a fiscal year end after May 2016. Go ahead and contact us for additional information. In this next section, rows 20 to 26, be sure to give us the name of the contacts who are filling out the form and the marketing contacts so we can get back to you with any questions regarding the survey, any accolades, and in rows 25 and 26, where to send the complimentary executive summary to. Starting in row 29, I want to call your attention to the drop-down arrow here. This indicates the drop-down menu with selections to choose from. These drop-down menus are used throughout the survey, so anytime you see the down arrow when you are in a cell, be sure to click on it so you can select the drop-down menu. Moving on down to the mergers and acquisition area, rows 39 to 43. Complete this section only if you've acquired another accounting firm during the year reported. If none, be sure to put a 0 in row 39. Let's take a look at the definitions tab and go to row 39 on mergers and acquisitions, and it'll give you a little bit more of a detail on what to include. Do not include lateral hires, professional staff, or partners that were hired from another firm with a book of business as a merger. M&A should be considered an acquisition of a firm with partners and staff along the way. Let's go down here to row 43. If you had a merger in the year previous to the fiscal year you're reporting on, please indicate so here. Again, notice the drop-down menu so you can select from that. Moving on to the section entitled Financial Information, let me point out some distinctions that will be important to remember. In row 46, we ask for gross revenues of the firm. Some firms tell us they don't track this information, but we believe all firms should. Total gross revenue for the firm is from all entities at the firm's fiscal year end, net of client reimbursables. Any subsidiary revenue should be reported here as well. If the CPA firm owns less than 100% of the subsidiary, include the percentage of revenue equal to the percentage of ownership of the subsidiary. The actual dollar amount of gross revenues should represent all revenues that your time and billing system says you should have charged at standard rates. Report accrual basis revenues before any bad debt write-offs. Row 47 focuses on net revenue, which is the actual amount billed net of actual client reimbursables from all entities that were included in the firm's gross revenue number above. Write-ups and write-downs should be included in this number, but bad debts should not be. In row 48, it asks for organic net revenue growth, which is the percentage growth, both positive or negative, from the previous reporting year of organic growth only. Here we want to make sure that you do not include the effects of any mergers on net revenue percentage change. However, any revenue from existing clients brought into the firm through lateral hires or partner with an existing book of business is considered organic growth. Row 49 asks for total net revenue growth, the percentage growth plus or minus from the previous reporting year from all sources of revenue for the firm, which include mergers. If you did not have any mergers last year, row 48 and 49 should be the same. In row 50, we're asking for the percentage of the firm's net revenue derived from something other than charge hours. Many firms provide services that generate revenue regardless of charge hours, such as revenues on assets under management or success fees over and above the work performed. In row 50, we ask you to please indicate the percentage of the firm's total net revenues derived from something other than charge hours. If none, go ahead and enter 0%. This next section, net revenues by service area, starting on row 51, we're looking for a breakdown of total net revenues by service area. Please be sure to complete this section based on each service area's net revenue, and be sure that the total that's automatically summed in row 71 is the same as the total that you typed into row 47. If you have any services that are not listed in column C, please enter the dollar amounts and names of the service or entity Please enter the dollar amounts in rows 68, 69, and 70, and then the name of the entity or the service in column C here on the right. This is where you can tell us the names, and again, notice it is white, so that is a field that you can type into. The next section, starting on row 73, talks about industry niches and asks for the top 3 niches as a percentage of net revenue. Again, notice the drop-down arrow here. We've identified some of the major niches that many firms have, and you'll see that you will need to scroll down to get a look at all the different niches that exist here. Indicate the top 3 industry niches of your firm in this section based on total net revenues derived from those niches. If an industry niche is not provided in the drop-down menu, go ahead and select this other down at the very bottom and then type in the industry niche in column C of that row. In rows 74, 76, and 78, please indicate the percentage of the total net revenue of the firm that the niche provides. And then finally, in this section here, rows 80 to 82, indicate any new niche practice areas that you're looking to launch in the current fiscal year, and give us, with the same drop-down menu, indicate any of these areas, or go ahead and put your input into column C. Let me pause for a second and ask if anybody on the line today has any questions related to the firm revenue section. Again, you can either raise your hand or just put something into the question box or into the chat box below. All right, seeing none, let's look at the firm net income starting on row 84. In row 84, we're looking for the total net income of the firm prior to any equity partner distributions. Let's again jump to the definitions tab for clarification. So we're looking for row 84. You can scroll down here. This is the section on total net income before equity partner distributions. This is your net revenue number that you put into row 47 less all expenses. Include among the expenses payments to non-equity partners, payments to retired partners, but don't include any unique equity partner benefits such as car allowances, salaries, compensation, or return of capital for current equity partners. Be sure, if you have any questions along the way, to keep jumping back to this definitions tab. Rows 85 and 86 ask for the organic and all growth of net income from the previous fiscal year. For the organic growth, as above, don't include the effects of mergers on net income percentage growth or decline. Any income that was generated from revenue from existing clients brought into the firm through lateral hires or a partner with an existing book of business should be included in the firm's organic growth. The all growth number the all growth number in net income from the previous reporting year includes all sources of income, including mergers. Here in row 87, let me call your attention to that. We want to know how much of the net income is expected to be distributed to equity partners, either during the fiscal year reported or in the first few months of the current fiscal year, to equity partners in the form of compensation, bonuses, unique benefits, profit sharing, etc. For instance, if all of the profits are earmarked for distribution, please type in 100% here. If only 90% of the profits are going to be for distribution, 90% should go there. Let's jump down to row 91. We're asking for the realization rate, which is defined as the total amount billed divided by what the time and billing system says you should have billed, which is actual charge hours times standard billing rates. In many cases, it would be net revenue divided by gross revenue. The numerator would be what was actually billed less all client reimbursables, and the denominator would be all charge hours before any write-offs multiplied by full standard billing rates before any write-downs or any write-ups. This metric is a combination of items including it takes into consideration the chargeable time that was not recorded, captured time that was not billed, and billing rates that were different up or down from standard billing rates. Okay, before we move on to the next section, let me again pause, see if there are any questions. All right, seeing none, let's move on to the accounts receivable area, starting in row 93. This is pretty straightforward. Total accounts receivable on an accrual basis is what we're looking for here on row 93. Be sure to include also any allowance for doubtful accounts to give us a true indication of what the total billed receivables number is. In row 95, for total unbilled work in progress, that number should be adjusted, if any, for any additional potential write-offs or write-downs to reflect the truer value. Please report this number based on what you expect to bill it at so we can have a more accurate picture of the value of your work in progress. This next section on firm costs, starting in row 99, is a snapshot of some of the major areas of expenses that are of interest to firm leaders. It's not intended to be a complete income statement. Therefore, what goes into each bucket is not mutually exclusive. For instance, a marketing director's salary should be included in the firm-wide personnel percentage on row 99 and should also be included in the marketing costs on row 101. The same will apply to technology costs for the technology director to include both in row 99 as well as in row 102. In any of these items in this firm cost section, be sure not to include any equity partner costs, any equity partner time, compensation, or unique benefits in any of the areas in firm costs. In all cases, please report as a percentage of the firm's total net revenues as identified in row 47. For complete definitions of what goes into each bucket, be sure to take a look at the Survey Definitions tab. In rows 106 to 108, we're looking for office space. This section identifies the total office square footage that your firm owns or leases. If the firm's obligated for space that isn't being utilized, please include it in the overall square footage for the firm's fiscal year end. If the firm has office space that you own that's being subleased that you're renting that's being subleased during the firm's fiscal year, please exclude that from rows 106 to 108. And you'll see in row 108, we have set it up so that 107 plus 108 will equal 100%. Apparently, some firms were having trouble having their owned plus leased space add up to 100%, so we've done that for you. All right, down to row 110, firm capital. This is the classic accrual basis GAAP definition. Assets minus liabilities equal capital. This is the equity partner's equity in the firm, partner's capital in a partnership, and members' capital in an LLC. Be sure to exclude any liabilities for retirement obligations and any funded retirement assets from the firm capital number. All right, let me pause take another pause to see if there are any questions on any of the sections we've covered so far before getting down into the personnel arena. Great. So this next section, let's take a look at the section, the matrix, rows 115 through 135, because this is the most common area where firms struggle, causing us to go back to firms for clarification. In this section, we've got it broken out by staff level, staff sizes, looking for the full-time equivalent in column C, total charge hours in column D, total work hours in column E, average stated billing rates in column F, and average annual compensation in column G. One of the questions we get most often is how to calculate full-time equivalent. For IPA's survey, we're looking for the full-time equivalent count of the people available to you during your fiscal year. FTE cannot be more than 1, but can be less than 1. FTE should be based on a 2,080 hour year. If you have a full-time person that started July 1st, for instance, they would be considered 0.5 FTE. If you have a full-time person who works 30 hours a week, they would be considered 0.75 FTE. If you have a partner that you admitted on October the 1st, please consider them a 0.25 FTE for your fiscal year end. We've set it up in all these areas with automatically summed totals, so you won't have to worry about calculating the totals here. In column D, please indicate the total charge hours for each staff group here. I'm going to put in a number that doesn't look right, 10,000 charge hours for these 4 equity partners that I put in. When you put that number in like that, you'll notice pop-up warnings that will pop up. You will have the opportunity to overwrite the warning, or if you put in a number that just didn't make sense, go ahead and just cancel that and put in the correct number. Let me also bring your attention to the far right here in columns L and M in purple. This is a checking mechanism that we've added that will help you assess the validity of the errors, the validity of the entries that you are making. So when you put in the total charge hours and the total work hours of the people in this group, it will automatically calculate the average annual charge hours per person in each one of these groups and the average annual work hours per person, just to make sure it looks appropriate. In column E, for total work hours, be sure to exclude any paid time off, which is holidays, vacation, sick time, jury duty. Exclude that from the totals. CPE should be included in total work hours. In column F, we're looking for average stated billing rates for the group. So if you've got a lot of different billing rates for equity partners, for instance, we're looking for the average billing rate for that group. Column G is looking for average compensation for the individuals in this group. For 0 to 2 year people, don't include intern compensation as it skews the results. So once you fill in this entire matrix, let me bring your attention to row 131. This is not part of the auto-summed fields that are being added in column C. We are looking to find out how many of the professional staff above are CPAs. So we're looking for a full-time equivalent. So if you've got, let's say, 34 people among the professional staff, here in column 130 or row 131, we want to know how many of those 34 FTEs are CPAs. And then we're looking for the same information for administrative staff. And then if there's any other client service oriented staff that don't fall into any of the categories above, be sure to include those in row 129. And if there's any other staff that you've got that won't fall in, any non-client serving staff that won't fall into any other categories, include that in row 134. So again, keep an eye out on the matrix. Look at this column L and M just to make sure that the information that you're providing looks reasonable. This is the area where we get most of the mistakes coming in, so that would be especially something to take a look at. Let's move down to this next section, which is on staff turnover. On row 137, we're looking for professional staff turnover percentage. This is the percentage of full-time equivalent professional staff, which includes all professional staff, paraprofessionals, and all partners who left the firm during your fiscal year, divided by the number of FTE professional staff at the start of the fiscal year. Please do not include interns or seasonal staff in this calculation. Row 138 and 139 are looking for voluntary and involuntary turnover. We're looking for actual FTE numbers here, not percentages. The full-time equivalent FTE number of professional staff again includes all professional staff, paraprofessionals, and all partners who left the firm on their own. Be sure again to exclude all interns and seasonal staff. Professional staff who left on their own should be counted in row 138, and professional staff who were let go by the firm should be included in row 139. 4 things to keep in mind for this section. Number 1, be sure to report a number, not a percentage, in row 138 and 139. Number 2, be sure to report based on FTE, not total head count. Number 3, be sure to report only the turnover of professional staff, which includes partners and not administrative staff. And number 4, be sure to exclude all interns and seasonal staff from your calculations. All right, let me pause again, see if there are any questions out there. Again, go to the chat box or go to the question section so we can see if anybody's got any questions or concerns. All right, seeing none, let me move on to the internal firm operations. This is row 142 to 192. This section identifies the professional, management, and administrative positions within the firm. We've expanded the drop-down menus this year to get a more accurate picture of who is serving in this role. So as you see here, the selections are, you've got a full-time professional person in that role who's not a client-serving partner. You've got a part-time person in that role who's not a client-serving partner. You've got a client-serving partner in that role. You're outsourcing that role to someone who is not employed by the firm, or you have no one in that particular position. So we want to make sure that we get the correct description of who you've got in place. Below each one of the drop-downs, we're looking for annualized compensation for that individual. Know that salary information will be kept confidential and will not appear in any IPA publication. Include salary, bonuses, overtime, and commissions for that person. If that person is less than full-time or only work part of the year or is working a part-time schedule, please annualize the total compensation as if they were a full-time equivalent so we can have comparable compensation numbers. If you outsource this position to someone outside the firm, include the fees paid directly for the service. Don't include any other costs or material costs other than compensation for the outsourced professional fee. If available, please also provide years of experience and years with the firm or years under contract with the firm for outsourced professionals. If needed, be sure to use the Firm Clarifications tab down here to expand on any of your answers. On row 148, we are looking for a professional chief executive officer who is a administrative CEO reporting directly to the managing partner or to the executive committee or to a partner group. The CEO position is not the managing partner role. It's a professional administrative executive brought in to run the firm so that partners can focus on client activities. Again, you'll have the same part-time or drop-down menus here, and we'll try to weed out some of the those firms who might be answering this question incorrectly by adding in row 149, trying to find out whether the CEO is a client-serving equity partner in the firm. Again, we're looking for an administrative CEO brought into the firm to run the firm. All right, let's move on down to the firm ownership area after we get through all of the administrative positions. In this section having to do with firm ownership, we're looking for average compensation for newly admitted non-equity, newly admitted equity, highest equity partner, and lowest equity partner compensation. In row 200, total managing partner compensation, just to clarify, total managing partner is the total, not the additional amount, which is being paid to the managing partner. Section 206 to 217, this section helps identify the components of the partner compensation formula used in your firm. Take a look at this section, and if the answer is yes to any of these items that are included in the formula, be sure to say yes in row 204, and then tell us which one of these areas in row 206 to 217 are included in your partner compensation formula. If the partners get credit for any of the behaviors or activities on this list. Section 219 to 227. This section is exclusive to information about equity partners. If you're not tracking some of this information, we would really encourage you to consider the potential value of doing so. In row 227, I'm not going to read through all the lines above that. They're pretty self-explanatory. But in row 227, we're looking to see the total number of equity partners who are not CPAs. We are not looking for the total number of non-equity partners. We are looking for the total equity partners who are not licensed CPAs. In this next section, rows 229 to 236, this section is specific to the managing partner of the firm. If you have several people sharing the managing partner role, please provide us an average where appropriate. If you've got two people serving in that role, you can either provide an average or just kind of give us both persons' information so we can capture all of that. One item to point out here in row 235, this question asks for the dollar amount of client business that the managing partner personally manages. This is his or her book of business. If the managing partner is focused 100% on firm management, indicate $0 and just put in $0 here. Do not put in the total revenues of the firm if the managing partner oversees and is focused 100% on firm management. This next section touches on newly admitted partners. This section addresses both equity and non-equity partners, so be sure to read the question carefully to see which is being addressed. We're looking for a head count here, not full-time equivalent, and it'll say so in row 237. Please use total head count. Please report only those people who were admitted during your fiscal year that you're reporting on. Rows 239 and 241 refer to lateral hires. Please indicate here how many people were hired in from another firm and brought into your firm directly as a partner, as an equity partner in row 239 and as a non-equity partner in 241. Down in row 243, if you have a buy-in amount for new equity owners, what is the average amount? So we're looking for a dollar amount there, not a formula. If you've got a dollar amount, please put it in there. If you didn't have any partners buying in during your fiscal year, go ahead and give us the most recent capital requirement, most recent buy-in amount that was used. All right, rows 244 to 250 deals with equity partner retirement, specifics of a partner retirement plan. On row 245, we're asking you to indicate if the firm's partnership agreement defines terms for a retirement plan for equity partners. A traditional 401k would not qualify as a partner retirement plan. If you don't have a specific retirement plan defined by the terms of your partnership agreement, just indicate no on row 245. Rows 251 to 275 are focused on firm planning and governance. This section provides a snapshot of the tools of planning and governance used in the firm. Please select yes in the drop-down menus if you have any of these tools in place in the firm. If you're unsure if you have them, then go ahead and just leave it blank. Notice also that some tools are specifically indicated as formal or written. Be sure to answer accordingly. So if the firm has core values, but it's only in the managing partner's head and no one else knows it, leave it blank. In the past, we have had a section dealing with benefits, which we're referring to here on row 276 and 277. The whole area of benefits is now incorporated in the IPA Human Resources Survey, which is a separate survey. If you don't have a copy of that survey and want to get involved with that survey, be sure to contact us for additional details on that survey. All of the information having to do with benefits are being moved to that survey. If you are with an association who has added a couple of extra questions, there will be a section between benefits and firm challenges. Be sure to answer that section for your association itself. If not, everybody jumps to firm challenges here starting in row 390. Please select from the drop-down menu that we've provided, which includes some of the most common answers that we have received in terms of firm challenges. And if it's not listed here, just indicate other and then type in the firm challenge in column C. Most admired peer is asked for in row 395 and 396. We really would like to get your input on a peer within the profession that is most admired. And then down here in most recommended section, this section for most recommended consultant is really important to help identify valuable resources that others can tap into. Please make sure that you fill in this section. Check in with others within your firm. If you're not the managing partner who's filling out the survey, check in with your managing partner to see if you can identify 3 consultants that the firm has used that you would recommend. Row 402, IPA uses the results of this survey to identify firms for accolades such as best of the best, the IPA 100, 200, and 300 firm rankings. Most firms would like to be considered for these accolades, but if for some reason you don't want your firm to receive the recognition from IPA, you may select yes here and opt out of accolades. We would encourage you, though, to select and keep no and make sure that that you're not opting out of anything there. And then in row 43, approval of submission to help ensure that all data submitted is correct and to reduce the need for clarifications, please have the managing partner review this survey prior to submission. So a couple questions that we get on a regular basis, thought we'd answer for you. How long does this survey take to pull together all responses? There really is no rule of thumb to answer that. Our first response came back within 24 hours of the firm receiving the survey. That firm has participated in the past and had set up a system to identify which reports they need to pull the data from. If your firm has the management reporting systems in place that capture the data requested, you should be able to access it all relatively easy. If you don't have those systems in place, it certainly can take longer. Much of what we ask for will come from your time and billing system, your payroll system, and your knowledge of the various tools you use for compensation and governance. Remember to jump back and forth to the definitions tab throughout the process. Many of the answers you're looking for as to what the definition is will be available on that definitions tab. If you have clarifications, please be sure to use the firm clarifications tab. And then to submit the survey, save the Excel spreadsheet and submit it to the address shown on row 404 to survey@Platt Group LLC. All right, let's jump back over here. Just to answer a couple more questions that we have from firms on a regular basis. There is no cost to participate in the IPA survey form itself. All fully participating firms will receive the August 2016 newsletter, which is a complimentary copy of the IPA Top 100 Firm Rankings with a description of some of the analysis that we have seen in the top 100. Every firm that participates will get a complimentary IPA survey executive summary when published in September, which by itself is a pretty comprehensive snapshot of current trends and metrics that you can use to help you manage your firm. It is not the full benchmarking report, but just a shorter executive summary of the report. Every firm will get consideration for accolades in the IPA 100, 200, 300, best of the best, and fastest growing firms. Participating firms will also get a preference for selection in articles written by IPA throughout the year. Participation in the survey helps us identify areas that you're doing things differently in, and that really is helpful to help identify something new and unique that you might be doing. Let me also draw your attention to the benchmarking report, which is the full report here. Participating firms have discount pricing on the full IPA benchmarking report. And also, if you're working with an association that's working with us, you will receive a complimentary copy of the full benchmarking report. You'll also have the opportunity to order a custom IPA benchmarking report card that compares your firm's performance on critical metrics against other firms who participate, other firms close to your size, and the best of the best with a simple green, yellow, red markers that will guide you to areas that your firm is excelling in or needs improvement in. We've offered the IPA benchmarking report card for several years now, and firms that have purchased this IPA report card report that it's a great catalyst for discussion in partner meetings and quickly helps focus discussion on the areas the firm can improve on. What you're looking at on the screen right now is the first of 2 pages of the operational report card. If you did not order the report card for the 2015 and your firm submitted data last year, we can still run a report card for you so you can have this for any upcoming firm meetings that you've got. IPA also has 3 additional internal operational reports, including firm administration, human resources, and information technology. These are 3 additional optional surveys that IPA has developed to delve deeper into these areas of practice. Some of you have received these 3 additional surveys. If you haven't received them for participation in the survey process this year, go ahead and drop us an email and we will send them to you. Deadlines for all 3 surveys is June the 3rd. There's no cost to participate in these surveys, and you, again, will receive a complimentary executive summary when all the data has been compiled later this year. If you don't have these surveys and you would like to participate, please go ahead and contact us, and we'll be happy to send them to you. So let me just bring up a couple of other things here just to take a quick look at. For those of you who are looking at the full benchmarking report, if you haven't seen it before, there is a pretty comprehensive executive summary with graphs and charts and commentary throughout at the beginning. That will be included in the executive summary that you would get, but what you would also receive is a comprehensive breakdown by firm size as well as by region of the various metrics within your firm. This is not included in the executive summary, and we've got about 80 pages of tables like this to give you a lot more detail along the way. Similarly, the firm administration report comes with an executive summary, and we have also broken this out by firm size and by region for all of the questions that are included in the firm administration survey, and for the IT survey and for the human resources survey. These surveys are available for firms for the information that was submitted last year. If you haven't already gotten a copy of the full benchmarking report for the firm admin, human resources, or information technology, go ahead and contact us for an order form for that. And then again, the report card, you can get this order form and information on our website, but be sure if you had not ordered a report card, we've got about 20 different metrics that we're looking at, providing your firm's data, the ranking among all participating firms, the average among all participating firms, your ranking among firms of your revenue band, the average of those firms, and the average of the best firms. This again has been a great tool to use in partner meetings and partner retreats throughout the year. Well, that's the end of our session today. I want to thank you for joining us and thank you for your participation in the IPA survey. Your participation does help make this one of the largest MAP surveys available to the profession, and we really appreciate the trust and confidence that you placed in our firm to continue to deliver the gold standard in benchmarking to you and to the profession. This presentation today will be available for download. We will send you a follow-up email with the link, and it will be available on our blog. If you have any questions that have not been answered, feel free to contact us at survey@plattgroupllc.com or give us a call at the phone number shown on the screen here. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great day, and feel free to contact us with any questions. Take care.